robbed a house last night and found something I can't explain inside. I rob houses. Look, I'm not a bad person. I lost my job and don't have enough to feed my 3 kids. But after my last robbery, I don't think I'll ever live a normal life again. I only target big, rich houses whose owners are clearly up to their ears in money. I don't break into houses with kids. Swing sets in the backyard is an immediate deal breaker. I don't carry a gun or any kind of weapon because there's too much risk I'll get scared and hurt someone. This is just a temporary thing. For my wife, for my kids, to survive. My latest target was a huge mansion on the north of town. It was the perfect house to rob, placed at the end of a lonely road, far from neighbors and witnesses, and it was clear the owners had a ton of money. The house had all the extras: a captain's walk overlooking the front yard, a massive deck in the back, and several bay windows. I'd driven by the house repeatedly over the past few days to get a sense of their schedule. It was a man and a woman. The man tall and stocky, the woman a short blonde. I'd seen them through the dining room window a few times, eating expensive steak and drinking red wine under a crystal chandelier. Honestly, seeing all that wealth filled me with anger. How many people could they feed if they just sold one of their beautiful paintings? Or that painted vase that had its own table in the corner? I guess I'd soon find out. I rolled up to the house at 1 a.m. smiling at how much money I'd make. Maybe I'd even have some left over. I could buy Aiden that toy Jeep he really wanted. Or get Maggie something nice. How long had it been since I'd given her a gift? Since she'd really enjoyed herself. I climbed out of the car and pulled the hat low over my forehead. Pulled on my gloves, got the large bag out of the back seat. Then I slunk through the grass, quietly, past the immense window in their study. So far, so good. I slid my lockpicking set out. After several minutes, I heard the familiar, satisfying clink. I stepped inside. The house was quiet and dark. I slipped out my flashlight and flicked it on. White light bounced across the marble floor, sparkling in the crystals of the chandelier. I glanced around, forming a plan. That painting, the vase, and my eyes lit up as I noticed the woman's purse hanging on a chair. Jackpot. The unmistakable LV of Louis Vuitton graced its surface. Nearly giggling, I grabbed it and slung it over my shoulder. No, wait. I couldn't steal all the stuff inside. Phones and tablets with tracking devices, credit cards that could be traced through their charges. It was too risky. I emptied the contents on the dining room table. It was surprisingly empty. Tissues, a tube of lipstick, a phone, and a wallet. I picked up the wallet, pulled out the 320s inside, then set the wallet back down. Wait. I froze. Picked the wallet back up, flipped it open. A driver's license was in the transparent pocket. A woman stared up at me from the small photo, but even in the darkness of the house I could see it. She was brunette, yet the woman I'd seen in the house was blonde. My heart started to pound. I scanned the rest of the license. Height, 5'8", eyes, brown. I aimed the flashlight's beam on the photo, studying the woman's face. Hard to tell if it was the same woman. I'd only seen her from a distance. I set it back on the table, a feeling of unease settling in my gut. Okay, what else? I glanced into the kitchen. In some of the other houses I'd broken into, they had silverware. Real silverware. Like, literally knives and forks made out of silver. Nabbing even a few pieces would get me some good cash. I stepped inside. The room was dimly lit, from the blue light on their super fancy refrigerator. I crept forward, around the immense granite island, wrapped my fingers around the carved metal handle and tugged. What? Empty. I opened another drawer, then another. They were all empty. A terrible feeling settled inside me. Just take what you need and get out. I walked back through the kitchen, back into the foyer. A painting hung on the wall, set in a gilded frame, depicting a roiling ocean under a stormy sky. I grabbed the sides and lifted. It was heavier than I expected, but I was able to lift it off the hook and shove it into the bag. Okay, the purse is easily $1,000, the painting probably at least $500. That should be enough for a few months. I turned around to leave, when my eyes caught on the vase. It sat in the corner, perched on a small table. No flowers in it. Apparently it was too good for things that grew in the dirt. The neck and base were a beautiful shade of jade green. Tiny looping handles on either side sparkled gold. And in the center, a painted woman poured water from a jug. I walked over to it, my heart pounding in my chest. Slowly I lifted it from its perch. Something rattled inside. I froze. Every hair stood on end. I brought it up to my face, examining the woman, the curls of gold. Just leave it, the voice inside me screamed. You have enough. Leave it. Get out of here. I tipped it over. 2 nickels rolled out. I let out a breath I didn't even realize I'd been holding. Then I let out a laugh, a soft hiss through my teeth. What? I really thought something scary was in there. Like what? A bone? A finger? A dried up, rotten human heart? Stupid. I threw the vase in the bag. Now, really, get out of here. But I glanced across the hall. The door at the end hung open. I could see the edge of a bed, a fancy wooden post, and beyond it something glistening on the vanity table. Jewelry? Before I could stop myself, my feet were moving forward. I grabbed the edge of the door, slowly pushed it open. No, the sheets were soaked red. Terrible shapes lay in the bed, twisted and still. I stumbled back. A hand clamped over my mouth, fighting the urge to scream. Thump, thump. Footsteps above me. Did you hear that? A woman's voice. Yeah, a man's voice replied. I think someone's downstairs. I bolted, my feet slipping against the marble floors. Leaving the stolen goods, I ran out of the house across the front yard. I dove into the car, panting, and peeled out of there. I was right. It was the perfect house to rob, but somebody had gotten there first.